Hey y'all, I know you saw my photo yesterday with all these collards, and I've got 3 huge bunches. You can see there's a big bunch. So I wanted to show you how I prepare them. I know a lot of people have asked how you cook them. A lot of people have eaten them but have never really cooked them themselves. And you know, it's just probably because they never saw anybody do it, because it's a super easy thing to do, especially if you have a pressure cooker. I cook them really quick that way, and they're super tender. Even though these are fairly big leaves on these, they're still very tender. They were fresh right out of they were just picked right out of the fields. So first thing I do is I scrub my sink really, really good, because I'm going to be washing these things down in my sink. So I've already scrubbed my sink really good using Comet cleanser and all that, so I know it's nice and clean. So I'm going to be cutting these stems off and putting them in here. So let me show you, because let me just cut this right here so you can see. All right, so this is what the stems look like, and you can see that's just a big thick stem. Well, when you buy those pre-washed and pre-cut collards that are in packages in the grocery store, they have cut, and you get little chunks of this stem all in those collards, and that's not good. The best collards are when you're just eating the green and not this big old stem part. So what we do is we just grab hold of the stem and just pull like this. It just pulls right off, and then you have this part right here that we feed to our chickens. We just throw it out there for the chickens to munch on, but it goes good in compost, or just trash it however you get rid of your vegetable scrap stuff. So then you just have these pieces of collards left, and I'm just going to throw these all down in the sink because I'm going to wash them really good. Lots of times collards grow so close to the ground, you can see like this was cut off like right at the ground right there. They're not out on a tree or something. They grow right up from the ground, and you can see right there is where they chopped it off from the ground, and so it was only maybe left that much above the ground. So therefore, when they're open like this and it's raining, that sandy soil, or mud, sometimes mud, whatever their kind of the soil is, it splatters up on these leaves. And so you'll get some sand and grit, and so you definitely want to wash your leaves really good. I mean, it would be terrible to cook your collards and have, you know, a lot of sand and grit in them. So I'm just going to stand here and continue to pull all these. All right, y'all, I'm back. I got them all pulled off the stems. I have a huge pile over here of the stems and the leaves that, you know, might have just been a little bit too brown on the edges, something like that. So I've got those all over here in a pile. I'm going to turn and show you. All that will be going to the chickens right there. But this that's down here in the sink, this is what I'm going to be working on now. And I'm just going to be washing them, rinsing them under the water, throwing them over here in this bowl, just to make sure that there's no sand on them. And then I'll probably rinse them a second time, because you definitely don't want any sand left on there. So I'll just continue to do this, and I'll get back with you in a little bit. All right, y'all, I'm back. I finished rinsing off the collards. I've washed them twice, and I didn't feel any other sand in the bottom of the sink, so I think they're good and clean. So what I'm going to do now is, it looks like a huge pile, and it's going to go in this pressure cooker. And I've really got them squished down in here just to get them all in that one bowl. So I'll be squishing them down in here as they wilt. I'll be pushing them down in here, which will help as far as being able to get them all in the pressure cooker. It's amazing what they cook down to. It'll probably only be maybe a half a pot when it's done. So hold on one second. I need to change my lighting because it's very dark on my face right here. So hold on a second. Okay, there. I think that's better now. I can at least see myself in the camera. So I'm going to take 2 cups of chicken broth. It's not very much. In fact, I probably could get by with just 1, but I'm not sure how long it's going to take for these to simmer down, so I'll go ahead and put 2. So just 2 cups of chicken broth right down in the pressure cooker. This will just make a lot of pot liquor, which is, you know, the juice after it's cooked. And we love pot liquor down here in the South. It's really good with cornbread crumbled up in it, but I'm actually going to make some collard pot liquor soup with what's left. That'll be another video, but I just wanted to let you know why I'm perfectly happy with having more juice in here. So I'm just going to start putting these in here, and as they get hot in this chicken broth, I'll be able to just push them down. And I usually just use a wooden spoon just to start pushing them down in there as they get near the top. You'll see real quick how they're filling up this pot. You can just kind of push around the edges, and that helps squish them down in there. I'm dropping pieces everywhere. But you see I haven't made a dent in this bowl, and I've almost got this pot full. But like I said, as they cook down, and there's still a lot of water on these collards from where I rinsed them. I didn't dry them off or anything. So there'll be plenty of liquid down in here for these to cook. And I'll be adding some seasonings in here, which I'll show you as soon as I come back. But I'm gonna keep pushing these down until I get them all in the pot. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, I'm back, and you can see I've got all the collards down in here now. They've just wilted enough that I was able to keep squishing them down. So now I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. This was just some ham from a ham steak that we bought at the grocery store. I'm just going to cut it in about 1-inch chunks and put it around in here. I usually just do it right here on top, but you could have, you could do it like throughout as you were adding the greens. Doesn't really matter, it's all going to be cooked together. And now I'm going to spice it up a little bit. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of this Red Hot. This is Frank's Red Hot. And what I'm going to do, instead of just putting it right directly on the collards, I'm going to mix it in another cup of chicken broth. That way the flavor gets all throughout better than if it was just sitting on top of a few. Actually, I think I'm only going to do about a half a tablespoon because I don't want it to be too hot. All right, stirring that in. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, sorry. There, just stirring that into here. And now I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. And some pepper. And then I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, just because the, just to make sure that there's no bitterness to the collards. I'm going to add it's about another half a tablespoon really. I'm just going to pour this over like that, and then put the top on my pressure cooker. And close it up. And it'll cook for, get this going here right. Come on, put it in here. All right, I'll get it. All right, y'all, I'm sorry. Can't figure out how it goes. I don't use this real often. Hold on a second. All right, I had to line up the two little dots, and then you just close it until it clicks like that. And so now this will cook for, I have to bring it up so that this will come up and there'll be two little white rings that show. And once it gets to that's full, there'll be full steam and full pressure in there. And then I'm gonna turn the fire way down and let it simmer for about, or steam under pressure for about 5 minutes. And then I'll just I'll turn the fire off and just let it die down on its own. Anyhow, I'll show y'all when it gets to that point. Okay, I wanted to point out to you, see the little white rings that are starting to show? And it's almost to the second ring. There's 2 of them. I think you might can see it better from this side. There's 2 that are starting to show now. So now what I'll do is I'm gonna turn the fire down a little bit and just let it cook for about 5 minutes under this much pressure. And then I'll cut it off and let it just cool down on its own. Anyhow, I'll be back with you. Hi there, I'm back, and the time is done, so I'm gonna open up these, and of course I always open it with the lid so the steam goes that way, not towards my face. And the next thing I do is I just start pulling these collards out of here, and I'm putting them over into this big iron skillet. And I'm going to just chop them up, so because nobody wants a big old giant piece like this to try to eat. So I just, take a knife and a fork and just slide through it like that, and cut them right up. And cut them into the bite-sized pieces. They're just right for eating. And cut them back this way. Some people cut them before they cook them. This is just easier to me, and lots of times, like when you get down to the bottom, there's going to be a lot of juice, and I usually have it in the skillet here so that I can actually pull the juice out, or cook the juice out. But those are pretty hot. I'll let it cool a second before I try to taste it. Let's see if I can just pull a piece off this. So tender. Got that little bit of spice from the hot sauce I put in there. Very flavorful. They're going to be a big hit on Thanksgiving Day. Hope y'all will get to try them and enjoy it yourself. Love y'all, and have a happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you before then.